So Marshall asks who stands to gain from pushing this narrative about whether there'll be a civil war. He thinks it's, MAGA, right? Other than the MAGA actors. And um, there seems to be a lot of this rhetoric. And in fact, our podcast goes on, right? I'm putting up pieces of it here. We go on to talk about this rhetoric, the problems with it, why people are embracing it, that sort of thing. But there's a question. He says, who else would gain from it? To a certain extent, you think that you could make the claim that Democrats gain from it, right? That if you're afraid that that there's going to be a civil war, you would oppose the people who would start it, right? And so that can be part. And indeed, in an upcoming episode of our Boring AF Politics podcast, we look at Michigan voters and the top three issues amongst independent voters in Michigan, right? The people who are actually going to decide the election. It's the economy, it's illegal immigration, but it's also preserving democracy. So the Civil War narrative goes to a core concern of voters, at least independent voters in Michigan. And I think as we look at other places, we'll see that this is an issue that's coming up. And so it touches on that. So the question of, which side gains from it is an open one. And obviously, though, in our discussion of it, Rich and I are very much down on the concept. And like I'm going to talk later, one reason not to think it's going to lead to a terrorism is that, the people who are pushing these fighting words really mean it as rhetoric. They don't really want the violence because the violence can produce backlash. But like I say, wait for it. That video's coming.